big news on the direction of this channel. A hint, it's behind me, but stay tuned, I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a bit. Can popular consumer Bluetooth headphones be used as an aviation headset that can rival the Bose A20s? Well, today we're going to find out. The folks over at nFlight sent me their whole product lineup to test and review, so we're going to get into an unboxing, we're going to take them for a flight, compare them to each other, and then we're going to give the whole review, the good, bad, and the ugly. This is not sponsored by nFlight or anybody else, so what do you say? Let's get after it. Okay, the first in the lineup of 3 aviation microphones is the nFlight Nomad Classic. We'll start with that, then we'll move on to the Pro, and then finally the Pro with a TSO certified microphone last. So, starting with the nFlight Nomad Classic microphone, you unbox it, open it up, and what you get as far as paperwork goes is it comes with a unconditional lifetime warranty. If you have any problems, questions, or concerns, please contact us below. Now, I can attest to this. So, full disclosure, I've owned a pair of the Nomad Classics for a long time. And in my Bonanza crash, we ditched into a river and they went down with the ship. I emailed Courtney and Patrick over at nFlight and they wanted my return back so they can study it, but of course it was at the bottom of a river. So, but regardless, they sent me a new one and I've been flying with it. So I do have some experience working with it, but I do have 3 new pairs here that we're gonna test. So there's the warranty, so that's awesome. Regardless of if it's abuse, you can return it and they'll replace it once. So you got, of course, some instructions here telling you how to attach them. We'll go through that. And they also are the nFlight cam folks. I use some of their products for attaching GoPros to my aircraft. Looks like there's something else here. Product registration form. So opening this on up, you've got a nice shoulder clip right there, a shirt lapel clip. And then you've got these 3M dual lock things. They're fairly similar to Velcro. The matching pair is on the other side of the microphone and you'll connect that to your headset. Taking a look at what this is, obviously I've got the GA pair, so you can order them with the other variations of connectors as well. Okay, so right here, this connects to the headset and then plugs into the 2.5mm port on your headset. Taking a look at the microphone itself, things to note is if you want to pop off the wind muff right there, take a look at the microphone. There's one side, and it is fairly directional, so they put the word talk right there so that you know where to put it right up against your lips. So that's the Nomad Classic version. Let's move on to the Pro version. Let's pull this whole bad Johnny out. I'm already noticing it's heftier. Okay, you've got the same lapel clip right there, and this is pretty nice. You've got a music input right here. More on that here in a second. So they provide that 3.5mm to 3.5mm. You've got your same 3M dual locks right there, and you've got your same general aviation twin plugs right there. And now let's take a look at this. So this is what makes this special. This is stereo and mono. So there's a switch right there. You can make it compatible with your type of flying that you do. And then you've got 2 separate volume knobs for left and right ear, plus and minus. They're a little bit hard to see here. And there's your 3.5mm input. Okay, you've got the same 2.5mm input for your headphones. And now taking a look at this, this looks a little bit beefier. Okay, let me grab the Classic. Looking at the Pro versus the Classic right here, this looks a lot more beefy right here compared to right here. This looks like a potential break point right here, but remember there's a lifetime warranty, so if that snaps off, whether it's abuse or not, you just let them know and they'll send you a new one. The Pro versus the Classic, definitely a thicker cord. It appears that they are the same microphone on both of the Pro versus the Classic. Okay, let's move on to the Pro TSO model. Everything is the same with the exception of the microphone. It comes with a David Clark Electret microphone. The one big difference, well, other than it being TSO'd, is that it is an omnidirectional microphone. They give you the specifications. In fact, this is straight from the David Clark manufacturer's information right here. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Pop this out, same accoutrements right there. Oh, nice, they've got the 3.5 millimeter music connector right there. And looks very similar to the Pro, with the big difference being the microphone. More on that here in a second. Let's take a look at this unit right here, stereo mono, 3.5 millimeter for music input, volume. Looks like the same diameter of cable as the Pro. Of course, I've got the GA twin plugs right here. Now, this looks the same as the Pro, of course, because it is the Pro version. It's just with the TSO microphone. So I'm not going to pop this off because that looks a little harder to put back on. Okay, let's talk about the 3M dual lock system. It's pretty unique in that both sides are identical, in that you don't need to figure out which side's the soft side, which side's the rough side. Any two will snap together. So let's go ahead and install them on the Bose Quiet Comfort 35. Peel off the sticker on the back. And once again, it doesn't really matter about orientation. It's pretty slick. You could rough up this. On some of my headphones, I've roughed them up with a little bit of Brillo cloth for better adhesion. But this one, I don't have the time to, so we're just gonna go ahead and wing it. Place it right there, and then it says to put firm pressure for about 30 seconds. So after about 30 seconds, you can go ahead and release. Let's go ahead, try out, see if it works. Love that sound. Easy peasy. So that concludes the unboxing. Let's go ahead and take them for a ride. Okay, to ensure we put the nFlight mics through its paces, we're going to start with the baseline as the big bad A20s.
All right, welcome. We are airborne on a beautiful early spring day in eastern Oregon. Nobody out here. A little bit bumpy. I got the manifold pressure pulled back. We're just cruising along at 130 miles an hour. So let's get right into it. I've got obviously the Bose A20s on to set the baseline. They're just an old friend, right? So I'm comfortable. I'm used to them. The weight of them is a known quantity. I'm not wearing a baseball cap because sometimes they put a little pressure on the little button on top of the baseball cap. Fantastic quality. I did some research and looking at what the sound attenuation is, and it is top of the line. I'm going to just turn it off just for a little bit of passive noise reduction, i.e. just the sound cups, turning off the active noise reduction. Okay. Bass. I hear bass of the IO520 happily humming along. You know, it's like finding $5 in your pocket every time you forget that you haven't turned on your A&R and then you turn it on. So much better. Nice. Anyway, that's what it sounds like. So right now, in this airplane with this headset, I can listen to music one of three ways, okay? One, I can pump it through my audio panel because I've got Bluetooth, but also there's a wire. So actually there's a fourth way. I've got a wire into my audio panel. I've got Bluetooth into my audio panel. I've got Bluetooth into my Bose A20s, and then I've also got a hard wire into my Bose A20s. Right now, I've got the iPhone pumping into the audio panel so that you can hear it. They're pretty cush on the ear cups, such that these thick-rimmed glasses or thick-armed glasses don't really bother me too much. On a long flight it would. Sometimes I just kind of put them above the ear cups like that. Aviators would be better, more ideal, but honestly when I put my sunglasses on, it doesn't change the sound whatsoever. It doesn't create any gaps because of the softness of the ear cups. That concludes the Bose A20s. Let's move on to the nFlight Nomad Classic. Testing. Turn on the A&R. Okay. All right. So a different feel. They're lighter. That's the first thing that I noticed. They're lighter. Not quite as nice of a plush cup on the side of my ear, but really no difference with the sunglasses going in and out. You're used to your own headphones, but the Quiet Comforts are really, really high quality. It's a little bit harder to break my squelch. You can kind of hear that. It kind of is cutting out just a hair. I have it right up against my mouth. This microphone that they use is highly directional. That's why they put the word talk on it. But you got to make sure that it is lined up directly in front of your mouth. So let's rotate it just. Testing. Okay. So you can kind of rotate it and play with it, and that's a little bit better. So let's talk about music. You can't pump in music organically through the headset. You can't pump it in through the cord of the nFlight mic. So your only option is going to the audio panel. That being said, Let's check it out. Music, go. I'd say about equivalent, man. Let me turn it down. It's turning it down via this. So it's darn near equivalent. The bass response is awesome. Let's pause this and actually talk about the noise attenuation from the actual headset from the engine and environmental noises. So just to compare, again, you're not going to hear any difference here, but I'm going to turn off the ANR, the active noise reduction, to get a feel for the passive noise reduction. Okay, just slight bit louder than the Bose A20s, still that bass. What's noticeable is I really lose a lot of the intercom. It's harder for myself to hear myself, and it would be for my passengers as well. So let me go ahead and turn back the ANR. That's nice. Okay, let's talk about turning up and down the volume for this headset. It's a little bit hard to find, but once you find it, you kind of set it and forget it. This Nomad is a mono system. Okay, so if that might affect the rest of your passengers if you have a stereo setup, but it is a mono system, so there's only one audio knob on the boom mic right there. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to the Nomad Pro. Testing. Okay, first thing I notice is I have a lot more volume in my right ear than left ear. Testing. Okay, there's left. All right, both coming. Testing. Okay, it's a little hard to figure out which way it is up and down. I'm not seeing it. Make sure I have it set to stereo. It is set to stereo. Pretty far down the cord. Let's go ahead and try some music. So again, we could pump it into the audio panel, but let's hardwire it in to the actual headset. Boom, just like that, and immediately the volume decreases a little bit, which is interesting. So let's try to turn it up. Testing. Okay, that's good. Nice and high. And let's try some music. All right, beautiful. I'm really impressed. I don't know if this is just me, but it seems to trigger the squelch or trigger the intercom a little bit easier. I don't have to yell quite as loud. Let's go ahead and try the big daddy of them all, the Nomad Pro TSO certified with a David Clark microphone. Moment of truth. Here we go. Okay, nice and super loud. The difference in the actual microphone, I can't really tell any difference from the Nomad Pro. Again, it triggers the intercom, break squelch a little bit easier. I'd be lying to you if I told you that I sound any different. The major difference is that it's TSO'd through David Clark, so technically you can use this at least to speak. Who knows what they have to say about the headphones themselves, but you can plug it into an airliner and talk through it. So that's what you get with the TSO version, but everything as far as the features and how it works is exactly the same. But that being said, let's put it through the rigorous test like I said I would, and plug in the 3.5 millimeter. There it goes, the sound got a little bit quieter. You might not have been able to hear that. And let's go ahead and play some music. Cool. As far as the amount of noise reduction, I'd say slightly less. It's slightly more noisy, and you may only notice the difference after hours and hours of flying in a bug smasher with the pistons banging up and down. Jets, I would venture to guess that there's not going to be a huge difference. Comfort-wise, the A20s are built for long-term wear. They're so cushy. They are heavier, but they have good weight distribution, and the cups just are so squishy on your head. That just feels so good. These are a consumer product, right? The Bose A20s are a professional product. All right, well, I'm going to head back to Bend. I'm just going to use these. I don't really feel a need to put on the A20s. These are lighter. They sound darn good.
Stand. Good boy, good stand. Welcome back, so let's get right into it. The construction. We talked about the construction a little bit in the unboxing. I want to hit that lifetime warranty once again. Now, the sound. The sound is going to be determined by your headphones. Cruising along in my Bonanza, it was 90 decibels. I didn't have really a way to measure the sound attenuation inside the headsets themselves, but just anecdotally, of course the Bose A20s, you're gonna attenuate some of that noise a little bit better than the Quiet Comfort 35.2s. As far as the comfort goes, weight is a big consideration. Now these bad boy Bose A20s weigh in at a whopping 374 grams compared to the Nomad Classics plus the Bose Quiet Comfort 35.2s were 257, and then only 3 more grams for the Pro TSO plus the Bose Quiet Comfort 35.2s. Anything else on the comfort side is going to be determined by the construction and quality of the headset that you choose. Now that brings me to compatibility. Bose Quiet Comforts, the 15s, those old guys, if they die, you will actually lose the capability of your entire headset. So heads up for that. The Quiet Comfort 25 is the earliest you want to go. Stepping up to the 35, these are really the sweet spot for the Nomad Classic Pros and TSOs, the Quiet Comfort 35.2s, really the ones as well. Leaping forward in time, the Bose 700s, while they are totally usable, Patrick said that they're a little bit echoey to use in an aircraft. Let's talk quickly about the Apple AirPod Max. Now, I haven't tested them, but Patrick of nFlight tested them and he told me that they just don't work well. They're not very comfortable and he just didn't like them as a headphone and he returned them back to Apple. Other popular headsets can be used, even if they have a 3.5mm input. You can get an adapter on their website, a 2.5 to 3.5mm input, and use them just fine. Now, other ones that work really well, Sony WH-XM1000XM2 and XM3s. If you have a question on compatibility, reach out to Patrick or Courtney at nFlight and I'm sure they'll have some data for you. Let's get into the drawbacks. All of these have volume control knobs, but all of them are a bit small and confusing. Let's address the Nomad Classic first. It's small, but honestly, with a mono microphone, you kind of just set it and forget it, and I kind of like that it's small and then it's out of the way and it doesn't really add any weight to the overall setup. For the Pro, it's a little bit confusing on which one is left, which one is right, and which direction is volume up and which one is volume down. Trust me, if you have a handful of airplane, this can get a bit tricky in turbulence. Let's talk Bluetooth. Once you plug in one of these boom mics into your headset via the 2.5mm input cable, it renders the Bluetooth, at least of these Bose Quiet Comforts, it renders the organic Bluetooth capability inoperative. So don't think that you're going to be streaming your music directly to the inherent capabilities. Now, you still have ability to Bluetooth to your audio panel if you have an audio panel that's so equipped. And again, with the Pro, that's what you gain, is you gain the ability to plug in to the 3.5mm plug right there. Number 3 on the drawbacks, you can't replace the batteries of these headsets. They're rechargeable wireless headsets. That can be good, that's good for the environment. They've got plenty of time, but if you're using these on a long international trip, they're going to die at some point. You need to recharge them. If the battery has died mid-flight, you're not going to lose the capability of the headset or the boom mic whatsoever. You just lose the functionality of the ANR, or the active noise reduction. Finally, on the drawbacks, you're stuck with a left side boom mic because of the fact that it plugs directly into that hole on the left ear cup. With a professional headset such as the Bose A20s, you're capable of moving the boom mic from the left side to the right side for when you upgrade from FO to a captain or vice versa. Okay, overall impressions. Are they going to replace my venerable, beefy A20 professional headset? No, they're not going to replace them, but they are a fantastic option if you're trying to build out your headset repertoire in your aircraft. As well as if you're going on a trip and you don't want to carry these big bad boys with you and you're already going to be bringing your music headphones, throw this in your bag and now you've got an aviation headset. Okay, the price is fantastic, the warranty is really good, and Patrick and Courtney at nFlight are just wonderful to work with. It's an American company, they ship from Texas, and so I'm a big fan of them. They're not sponsoring this episode. If there's anything I missed or any questions I can answer, feel free to ask me in the comments below or reach out to them at www.nflightnomad.com. Okay, let's pivot to the future of this channel. I've hit 2,000 subscribers and I can't thank each and every one of you enough for all your comments. They've been awesome and we're creating a community here that I feel like most of you guys are here for the bush plane aspect of it. So guess what? You're in luck. My kit is starting to be produced. It's a RANS S21 Outbound. I just went out to the factory to fly it for the first time and to build my rudder. Look for that video next week. I've also made my engine decision, so again, I'll make a video on that. figuring out all the choices and coming up with the decision that I made. Next month I'll head out to Boise for my tailwheel endorsement and some backcountry training. All that said, my life and this channel is going to be primarily focused on building the kit plane, putting the avionics in, putting the engine in, test flying it, and then learning how to fly it in the backcountry. If you feel I've earned it, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps me, and consider subscribing if you want to join me on this adventure. So until next time, I'm Steve, and you're cleared direct.